Welcome to the Postcards from Palisade podcast. I'm Lisa McNamara. Palisade is most famous for its beaches, but there's so much more happening in our little town. Join me as I chat with our community members to hear about how they're making Palisade a great place to live and visit. Today I'm speaking with Crystal Green, Career Pathways Coordinator for the Work-Based Learning Program at Palisade High School. The Work-Based Learning Program is a partnership between District 51 schools and local businesses, whose goal is to create a strong community and a skilled local workforce. The program provides students with hands-on, real-world experience in the different career pathways that are available in our area. I learned about this fantastic program at a Palisade Chamber of Commerce Community Over Coffee event, which, in my opinion, those events are worth the cost of membership alone. These events gather local business and community leaders to explain what they do and to answer questions in a small group setting. They're an awesome opportunity for members to find out what's happening in the community and to get questions answered directly by the source. Today, Crystal explains what work-based learning is, how students and businesses prepare and participate in the program, and why you should reach out, even if you're not sure if your business would be a perfect fit. All that and more on today's Postcard from Palisade. Thank you again so much for coming in to meet with me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm Crystal Green. I'm the Work-Based Learning Coordinator or the Career Pathways Coordinator at Palisade High School.
And so I learned about what you do recently at one of the Chamber of Commerce Community Over Coffee events. And I thought it was so cool. And I thought that there's a pretty good chance that somebody who doesn't have a kid in high school or didn't have a kid in high school may not be aware of this program. So that's why I really wanted to have you in and just learn more about what you do and how the whole thing works. So I would love it if you could just kind of talk through the program. What is it? How long has it been around? And how does it work?
Well, work-based learning has been around in D51 for decades, mostly through our CTE program, which is our Career Technical Exploration. And from there, it obviously students like to go and work in the community. And so, like I said, that's kind of been around for a while. And D51 is really taking a larger step. And so we now have coordinators. So we have a district level coordinator, and then we have a coordinator at all 4 major high schools. And what I do at Palisade High School specifically is I run our Futures Pathways program. And so we help students figure out early in their high school career what they want to do or potentially do. We allow them to get some of those foundational skills and even earn credentials that transfer directly into the workforce. And then hopefully in some kind of a hands-on experience, whether it be an internship, an apprenticeship, or even sometimes higher education. So I kind of oversee all those programs and then help connect the businesses with students so that they can have those opportunities.
I so wish I had something like that when I was in high school because, it's a time in your life when everybody is saying, okay, decide what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Right.
You're like, well, I don't know. I'm like a teenager.
Right.
So
I hear that a
cool
lot,
thing.
actually. I do. I hear that a lot. I think what's also really interesting about it is, they hear oftentimes the careers that our students, even as freshmen, are going to be doing don't exist yet. And so it allows them to get some of those foundational skills that he can even transfer to some of those jobs that are, still upcoming.
Oh, that's so cool. So with local businesses here, what kind of businesses are a good fit for the program, or what kind of businesses do you work with here in Palisade?
So really any business is willing to share their expertise with students. We like to grow our own. And so, these students are from here, live here, and it would be great if we could pass on some of those knowledge. I've been hearing a lot in the trades that we have a large population that are going to be retiring and no one to fill those positions. And so, the sooner that we can get students interested in that and they can be thinking about that and potentially start filling those roles, it's really important. But any business that's really willing to take the time to help a student, and it can be a reciprocal positive experience. It's not always just the business giving and giving. These students are very, very capable. And so if you give them the chance, you give them some directive, they have a lot of energy and a lot of creativity that even we sometimes run out of in our mundane day-to-day. And so it's a great opportunity to bring in some energy and some fresh eyes even to your business. And social media has really taken off. We're doing it now. And these students have lived it since they were little. And so I get a lot of requests from businesses wanting students to do that social media or even that technology part of it. So just any business that's really willing to give some time to our students and give them a chance and show that they are capable is really a good fit.
That makes a lot of sense, especially with the trades and everything. I know that there aren't always traditional pathways into that career field.
Yes.
So that's interesting. I don't know if you can name names, but can you talk about any of the businesses that currently participate? And if you can, then that's okay too.
Oh, sure. I've got several. So as you mentioned, the Palisade Chamber of Commerce, they've been instrumental in getting this off the ground. They are one of our biggest partners, not only with holding those events and allowing us to speak where we met, but they do, those networking events. They've also hosted, I believe, 2, if not 3. No, they've done 3 interns that have been really successful. And, we've both been able to navigate what that looks like from both sides and for the student. So that's been really nice to have that relationship and where we can brainstorm what's going well and what's not as well. The chamber's in a good position to then support other businesses because they've also been through it. Our Palisade Fire Department runs a full internship where they get students actually certified to become firefighters. They take a lot of time out of their day to run that. And so they've been very instrumental in getting our students prepared to be in the fire department or in EMS. Mm-hmm. Our Palisade Police Department also runs a class at Palisade High School. So the officers come in a lot of times on their own time and teach our students everything they would learn if they went to the police academy minus guns, because that's not safe. And then they're doing a year 2 internship where students are going to actually be at the police department and working alongside the police officers. So you might see them at the farmers markets, standing next to the police officer and doing things like that. And then we have 3 students that are actually going to be going and learning how to do dispatch. So there's a time between when you graduate until you turn 21 where you can't go to the police academy. And so we're trying to keep the kids engaged during that time through different avenues. Some other businesses in Palisade, Wine Country Inn, allowed our students to do a lot of behind the scenes and work some of their festivals. So they've been a great partner, and I think there's going to be even more there to come. The Historical Society had an intern, and that was a lot of fun for both parties there. And then the Blue Pig also had an intern. And so a lot of our local Palisade businesses have really supported this program.
It's just such an invaluable experience because, again, there's nothing like actually doing something to find out if you like it or not, or if you want to spend your career doing this kind of thing. So that on-the-job shadowing and, working alongside people in that field is so fascinating. That's such a cool experience for kids to have.
I say sometimes to the kids, you try your shoes on before you buy it. You try your car before you buy it. Why would you not try your career? I think it's something like you spend 98,000 hours, something crazy like that in your job. So why wouldn't you want to try before you buy or try before you go to school,
Yes.
Dropout rate is real. Changing your major takes time and money and resources. Maybe college isn't even for you. So these students can kind of try to figure all that out even before they take any of those really big steps.
So I think you kind of highlighted some of the success stories there with that list, but is there anything else that you want to talk about that, really resonated with you?
There's a lot of success stories that come out of this. And again, it's not even just for the students. It's also good publicity for our businesses, getting their name out there. These students are well connected and so are their parents. And so there's no better way than word of mouth of saying hey, I'm doing an internship at, the Blue Pig. Mm-hmm. What's that? It's an art place. You should come check it out. They've got this cute little coffee shop. So that word of mouth really travels far. Some of our students have been so successful in some of the work they've done. So I'll go back to the social media that they had so many clients and so much success that they were able to kind of spin off and run their own business, doing social media marketing for businesses alongside going to school for that. We have another student that did an internship and that turned into a career for them. And so I think that that's the success stories that we're looking for is not only are these students being productive members of society and finding what they're passionate about, but they're also supporting our local businesses and staying right here.
Yeah, win-win. Also for keeping the community kind of spirit going and keeping multiple generations in our community here in Palisade too is so important for that. So I have the handout here that you handed out at the chamber event, and I just noticed there are so many different ways that businesses can engage with a program. It's almost like anything you can think of. You can possibly do it. So what's the best way for a business to figure out what option would work best for them?
So like you said, there's several different ways. If you find that you only have a small amount of time, but you do want to, to help out with students, having a site visit, having students come to your place of business, coming in and being a guest speaker, those are great ways to kind of dip your toes in and see if this is what's best for you. We're really hoping to form businesses and relationships for the internships and apprenticeships portion of it. And if you are interested to know more about that, the best way to contact us is through one of those coordinators. So again, we've got a district level coordinator. So if you just call the district and ask for the work-based learning coordinator, you could find her. And then again, there's one at all the 4 major high schools. I'm Crystal Green at Palisade High School. Mm-hmm. And you can just call the school and get connected to us, and we can set up a time to meet and kind of talk about what that looks like. We also just rolled out a software that we're using. It's called School Links. And so it's a really easy way for you to even sign up without having to meet with us. If you just get that information, and then you can basically make your own profile. And then if you are willing to do, just a job shadow, you can post that on there. If you're wanting to do more of like an internship, you would post that on there. And from the kids side, it looks like an Indeed page. So I was just on it this morning. So from a student perspective, I got on and I saw there's a job shadow and there's an internship. And so I can apply to those, and then the coordinators would then step in and help coordinate, like, do you want to interview these students? Do you want us to pick them for you? But it's a really nice streamlined way for you guys, for them to see what's available, for you to show what's offered. And then all the paperwork is also very easy. It's all electronically done. And then once you've set that up and you're working with the student, outside of that, your time is very minimal. The students will turn in a timesheet, and it takes you about probably 2 minutes to log in, review it, and hit approve. So we're trying to really streamline that. One thing we heard when we first started doing all this was, I would love to do that, but I don't know where to start. And so these coordinators are in place now, and this software is in place now to hopefully streamline that. All of the chambers are also aware of this. So if you don't even know where to contact someone in the district, the chambers are happy to be that kind of middle person to help you not only make your website or get on there and do your profile, but also to connect you to the work-based learning coordinators.
I'll include a link to that School Links. I'll include that in the episode notes. So that's really the first place. Either contact you or check out the School Links, and that's really your starting point. So,
or the chambers, yep.
Or the chambers. Thanks, yep. I like that there's so many different options too. So it could be basically as much time investment as you want.
Absolutely.
You can put a lot of time into it, you can put a little time, and there's still something that might work.
Absolutely. And the 4 schools are working really well together. So, whatever you offer will be sent out to the whole district. So it's kind of nice to know that. So like, even if you contacted me, when you post that on School Links, it does go out to all of the schools. And so you can get a student from any schools.
Okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to just be in the town that you're within.
Yep.
Let's see. I think maybe we touched on this a little bit already, but what kind of skills are in demand from local businesses?
A lot of conversation from that community over coffee. It was kind of funny because that's the question we asked of, the participants at the table. And it was very basic things that they were looking for. Being able to communicate, to answer or make phone calls, to do emails, how to address an envelope was actually one that popped up 3 different times at 3 different tables. Isn't that interesting? Because we just don't do that anymore.
Oh, that's so funny.
I really took that to heart. So I teach the college and career prep class also at Palisade, which is a mandatory class for sophomores. And I spent all day yesterday figuring out how I can get those skills specifically into that curriculum. So we're going to have students writing envelopes in our class, and
good.
how to we're going to practice making phone calls and writing emails and doing some of that communication piece.
Oh, that's so cool, because that's not part of daily life anymore. You don't have a pen pal that you write a physical letter to anymore. Right. or have to call your friends' parents and ask for them to come to the phone. And wow, that's fascinating. So
even just knocking on the door. Like, people don't knock on the door and say, hey, can so-and-so play now? Like, they text, hey, I'm here. So I think that we're going to really spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff in that class to get them better prepared. So how do you help the students get ready, other than
basic skills, things like that. I think you do a lot of work with students to get them prepared to participate in this program. You're not just kind of plucking somebody out of a class and saying, okay, go work at the chamber for a few months.
So I think the first step would be kind of, again, at Palisade, we do that sophomore class where we do some of those foundational skills. And then just being a part of the pathways, the students are in those, again, their CTE classes, so those career technical education classes where they're learning some of those skills as well. So alongside of coding or, carpentry, they're learning those other business skills, soft skills. And then as a district, we are working on finding a unified way to train our students, or we're calling it onboard our students for these internships specifically. So if you get a student from Central Junction, Fruita, or Palisade, they've all had the same kind of training so that they are prepared. That's in the works. We've got talks with CMU and the Workforce Center, and so we're going to pull in some of our business partners to kind of help us make this a unified resource for our students. But yeah, we are not plucking them out of the classroom. They've had some training and some experience. And again, I like to mention this over and over again, like a lot of our students are credentialed. Like they had to sit and pass the same tests that the other adults do. So a lot of times that brings their maturity levels up because it becomes serious and real for them when they're holding that card that says, I can go work on a construction site. And so I think sometimes you find that they're ready to go just from that. There are some growing pains because some of them have never had a job. So just know if you do an internship, we are going to prepare them the best we can, but you may still have to do a few things to kind of get them up to par. But I think that is what you should be willing to do if you are taking an intern, is to know that you're going to have some of those growing pains, but hopefully they adapt quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, with any internship, it's educational for the student as well. And yeah, that's kind of part of the experience.
I would say some things that have kind of stood in our way from having some more business partners is we have a lot of individuals who love to take the CMU students, which CMU is a great resource, and I love that resource is there, and our pathways lead to that. However, I want to just emphasize that like our high school students become those CMU students, and our high school students, this is their hometown. So sometimes the CMU students come and they don't live here and they're going to take your resources and go, and that's okay. But if we want to really work on, providing our economy with help, I would say take a chance on some of these high school students. You would be amazed at what they're able to do if you give them a little bit of space and a little bit of confidence, and they're able to do great, great things. And I would just challenge you to think about what is that 10th most important project on your list that you just don't have time to get to, and allow these high school students to do it. A lot of places will say, well, I can't have a high school student in there because we have private information. Think mortgages, things like that, banks. And true, students can't sit in on those things. However, you still throw events. You still have other employees to take care of. Those are projects that the students could definitely still be immersed in the bank. They're not sitting at the table with those private conversations, but they're still hearing and seeing and having to dress up and learning how to shake hands. There's so many things they can learn from still helping you throw an employee celebration or a public event. So think about those projects that you have sitting on your table that someone that is 17, 18 years old could probably tackle, and you might find that you really like the results.
That is an excellent point. So how long have you been in this role?
So I moved here 3 years ago in July, so just past our anniversary of moving here. And so I was originally not actually going to go back into teaching, and I moved in across the street from my principal's family. And so he introduced himself as a principal, and I said, well, I'm a teacher. And he said, do you want a job? And I was like, sure. So I originally started in the Spanish classroom, and I don't speak Spanish, but we had a student teacher that needed a certified teacher in the classroom. So I was there to help her with the classroom management and lesson planning, but she was actually doing the teaching in the Spanish. So no worries if you ever had me in your Spanish class. I was not in charge of that part. And I actually ran a program back in St. Louis through the Center for Advanced Professional Studies, and it was a healthcare program. So I'm a science teacher actually by trade. That healthcare program was very similar to what we're trying to do here. I got students for half a day, and they were just completely immersed in everything healthcare. And so when Principal Bollinger saw that I had that on my resume, they were prepared to do what I'm doing and start the pathways, but they actually were planning on doing it a few years out. But they're like, hey, you're here, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so we jumped in that January. I started finding internships that first year. I think we had 27 interns. And then the following year, we really started building the pathways that lead to those internships. So that was a lot of last year was a lot of building that and getting students through and kind of figuring out what our processes are and meeting new people and gathering the resources. And this year's going to be a lot of the same, just kind of making sure that we've got solid foundations for everybody involved and then starting to expand, hoping in the future that we can do something in that kind of tech, IT, creative field, and also agriculture. So would you believe it or not, at Palisade High School, we don't have an agriculture program.
No.
So I'm in the works of trying to build or get a greenhouse on campus that goes along with our fish hatchery. So thinking hydroponics and use the wastewater from the fish to do the hydroponics, and working with some different places on what we would do with what we grow and how we could be resourceful in that. And so that's my project for this year as well. So that's kind of how I got started.
I love that. That is such a cool ties to the community that, you're right, is so weird that is missing right now.
Yeah.
I wonder if back in the day too, they kind of, the students would get that through working more in the fields. And now that doesn't really happen anymore, you miss that connection or that pathway.
Yeah. I think it would be great to tie it into our culinary and our hospitality pathway as well. So that, field to fork or field to plate concept, we could use some of the food that we grow to then they can use it in their plates, and it would be kind of nice.
So you didn't move here intending to get into this at all. It was just sort of a happy accident. That's really funny.
Nope.
What actually brought you here, where you just always wanted to come back to Palisade?
No, actually, we didn't even know what Palisade was, and we definitely didn't even know what Grand Junction was. So we moved here for my husband's job. He got transferred here to come manage his work. Honestly, it's funny because at the time we have 3 little boys, so we were trying to find a 4-bedroom house. So they all had their own rooms. And the house that we purchased was really the only 4-bedroom house on the market at the time, and we didn't really have a lot of time to shop around. They were wanting to get us out here pretty quickly and had no idea that moving to Palisade was a thing. And so when we started telling people, well, we bought a house in Palisade, they're like, oh. And we're like, what do you mean, oh? Like, what's oh? And now that we live here, we definitely get it. But it was really funny because we didn't even really know what we were moving into. So.
That's really cute. So getting right into a new school year, is there anything you traditionally do to prepare for the year? It's starting next week, right?
It is starting next week, yes.
Yeah. So how do you usually prepare? Is there anything you do differently this year than other years?
Yeah, so I actually have spent yesterday and today working, and I would say step 1 is organizing, because I juggle a lot of different tasks. You can imagine running these pathways, teaching a class, getting the internship set up, supervising those, really just getting myself super organized and starting to get some processes in place so that I don't drop the ball anywhere. And this year, because we've had the students kind of in the pathways for 2.5 years, they're ready for internships. So this year is going to be a lot of networking and connecting students' interest to businesses that are ready to host them. And so this year was a lot of, let's figure out who do I need to talk to on day 1 so that we can start getting them in these meaningful internships and get them this experience. So I would say this year's been a little bit more on like, we got to hit day 1. We've got to hit it running. So really excited about that. Getting our fire academy up and running. So year 2, this is going to be the first time I think ever that they've had a year 2 for the fire academy. So we're really excited about that. We have 1 student doing that. And then our police academy last year was the first year teaching, and then this will be the first year for that internship as well as the dispatch. And so really just making sure that our business partners are taken care of, because this is a lot of unknowns for everyone, students, teachers, and the business partners involved. So just really trying to make sure that I'm out there and supporting them is probably my big focus, so that these are the longevities there. We're keeping these relationships positive. So
yeah. Wow, that's a lot.
It is, but I love it. I can teach in a biology classroom, and I can maybe affect some kids' lives by the information I give. Mm-hmm. What I get to do now is transformative.
Yeah,
and I can have kids. I loved this. This is my career. I'm going to continue. I got a job to I hated that, and I thought I'm so glad I didn't go to school. That's a success story in itself. So
Absolutely.
What I get to do is really powerful and enjoyable. And I was just telling, I'm very excited to say I've got an assistant this year to help with some of those tasks, and that's who I was just meeting with. And I told her, I was like, we get to have really fun days. And she's like, okay, like what do you mean? I was like the police academy last year learned how to clear buildings. Like if there was a bad guy hidden in there, like, so they got these little fake blue guns, and they got to learn how to, like, just like you see in the movies, like clear, like how to go in and clear a room. Wow. And I was like, I got to sit there and watch that instead of sitting at a desk, right? So it was like so fun. So we get to do a lot of fun things. Our construction day is always really fun. If you're wanting to partner in any way, shape, or form, these are the fun experiences that you could potentially have with kids.
Oh, that's so exciting.
It's very exciting.
Very cool. A lot more fun than just grading papers.
Yes.
Now that you've been here for 3 years, have you found like your favorite things to do in the community, favorite parts about Palisade?
I would have to say the small town feel is what we love about it. We came from just outside of St. Louis, so the population of our town was as much as the whole valley here. So you can imagine when people say there's traffic here, we kind of giggle at them. So we really love the small town feel. My children right now are at the pool. I love that it's, a small pool and they're there with friends. Everyone we've met here has been super nice and welcoming. My children have great relationships with their teachers and their coaches and their friends and even their friends' parents. And so we were really able to, just integrate really easily. And as a mom, that was my biggest fear for my boys, especially my oldest one was starting middle school, and now he's starting high school. And so I would just say the small town feel and how everyone's just been really welcoming. I love the festivals and the festivities, and of course the peaches. Wasn't even a peach fan until I moved here. And now I have a peach tree in my backyard, which I'm watching the birds eat all of my peaches, but it's okay. But yeah, I would just say that we love, I think for our family, we really love the Christmas festivities. Oh, yeah. So my children, because they go to Taylor, have sang, for the tree lighting and then just the cute little parade. And we really enjoy that. And I have my family coming in for Peach Fest, just all the festivals and the people we've met. And yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest. I
love the Peach Fest ice cream social downtown with the street dancing and everything. I just think that is the cutest event ever.
It is cute. It is a lot of fun.
It.
And we love we love all the outdoor things. So I have 3 little boys and a lab. And so we swim and hike, and my husband and I love to go camping, and the Mesa is amazing. And, we live right on the Colorado River. So we try to take advantage of that as much as we can when we're not traveling for our travel sports. So
Right, of course. So would you say on the whole you're happy you moved here?
Yes, we love it here. We actually just asked our boys, would you ever, do you want to move back? And sorry, Mom and Dad, but they said no. So no, they're loving it here too. Great. And they love their friend group and schools, and they're excited for this year. So
that's so good to hear. Anything else you want to add or share?
I think I would just say, if you're a business on the fence, I would say give me a call and let's talk. And even more importantly, I'll let you talk to some students, and you can kind of hear the impact that it can have. And if you have any concerns, I would also say I've mentioned this a couple times, the chambers are really supportive of this, and they also have supports in place too for you. I know that they run different workshops on like how to host an intern. I think that's through Fruta Chamber, and I know Palisade and Fruta are sisters. And so there's a lot of resources out there. There's also resources on how to pay your interns that doesn't necessarily have to come out of your income stream. And so the Workforce Center works with us on that. And if you're interested in an apprenticeship, which is a little bit more in depth than an internship, there is tax credits right now in the state of Colorado. So there are other financial benefits to having students come in. So just be brave, make the call. Let's see how it works. And there's nothing to say that if you don't like what you hear, that's okay. Maybe you can just be a guest speaker. And if you love what you hear, then let's move forward. And so I think I just really want to take a moment to give a shout out to any businesses or individuals that have taken time to have students. It can be challenging. It's a learning experience. It's something that can be scary. You're definitely, we take it to heart that this is your business and your livelihood. And so I just want to say thank you to any businesses that have already interacted or even just made a connection. Even if you didn't have a student come into your business, I do have some advocates out there that have been just working really hard to make connections for me. Hey, this, you do this business, this person is a great person to contact. We think this could be a good relationship. That's kind of how we got in One Country In. So I just want to say thank you to anyone that's been a connector or have hosted a student or come in and spoke to our students. I'm definitely not doing this alone, and it's been a community effort and definitely a village, and I just appreciate everyone who's been a part of it.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and hopefully spread the message to others in the community who maybe haven't come across this program before and inspire them to reach out and get involved. So I appreciate everything that you do too.
Thank you.
Really, it's such a cool job, and it's awesome just to see the excitement you have for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you bring that to the students and to everybody you work with too. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, Crystal.
Thanks for having me. And thanks for everyone for listening.
After we stopped recording, I was joking with Crystal about how I lack the skills to make video podcasts. And she said, well, maybe you should get a D51 intern to help you with that. So there you have it. There truly is an opportunity for everyone. And maybe you'll see video postcards from Palisade in a future season. Maybe. If you think your business might be a good fit for the work-based learning program, visit the School Links platform to sign up and learn more. That's at tinyurl.com/schoollinks with just one L, D51. Or call Palisade High School at 970-254-4800, or call your local Chamber of Commerce. The podcast theme music is Riverbend by Jeff Roper. Thanks for listening. With love from Palisade.